For those of you out there that might not really believe that the reprobate doctrine actually works, I'm going to give two examples of stuff that I've seen in real life on how it's actually came to play exactly how the Bible describes it. And for those who might not understand what the reprobate doctrine is, if you just go to the Bible and read Romans chapter 1. Just keep reading it over and over until you get a deep understanding of it. And of course, if you're not saved, you might not understand it. But for saved Christians that have the Holy Spirit in them, you should feel some type of guidance and understand at least a little bit of it. Because I don't really think it's that complicated. But when you think about all these different scenarios and stuff, you might be a little bit misled. But, I'm just going to go ahead and explain it for the people that don't understand. In Romans 1, it describes how somebody can constantly reject God, push him away, ignore him type of thing. And it says worship and serve the creature more than the creator. I believe that could be, people that are super enthused about nature. They love looking at nature and trees and all this stuff. And nature and Mother Nature. And they worship and serve the creature. And that could also be in the flesh whenever you're just always lusting after, another gender or whatever, lusting after the beauty of humankind and stuff. You saw this in the Greek Empire, especially when they became gay, which I'll explain how that happens. You saw all the statues that they made of just these jacked Greek gods and stuff that they put on these statues and everything. You saw that they worship the creature more than the creator by worshiping the human. And also it says, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. And that, I believe that could be applied to evolution and stuff. People that act like they're super smart and they we evolutionists, if you look at the statistics, we have a higher IQ on average. And we're all about the facts and all about the knowledge, and we don't like to believe in fairy tales. But what do they actually believe in? They believe in that nothing exploded and made everything that we see today, and all these organisms and stuff. I don't want to get too deep in all that, but professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. They're acting like they're super smart, and what they do is reject the obvious truth that God made all this stuff, and decide to believe that it just made itself out of nothing. Out of straight nothing. Everything that we see here made itself. That's how they became a fool, by really believing in nonsense. And it keeps talking about people that have rejected God and keep pushing him away and don't even want to retain God and their knowledge. People that anytime they hear anything about religion, they just, I don't want to hear about that. It's stupid. Stay away from that stupid stuff. I don't believe in fairy tales. And then as a punishment, if you read later on in the chapter in Romans 1, it's not a very long chapter. It's like a page and a half. But if you read later on in the passage, it describes how God gives them over to a reprobate mind. The word reprobate means rejected. And also other places in the Bible it says, reprobate silver shall men call them, because the Lord hath rejected them. And reprobate mind, you have a rejected, because human beings, we have a natural conscience. We have, things that we're not going to do just because it's disgusting. If you think about things that animals do. Okay, a dog will puke and then return to its vomit and eat it up. It talks about that in Proverbs, as a fool returneth to his folly. No, as a dog returneth to his vomit, a fool doth return to his folly. I may have messed that up a little bit, but they'll puke and eat it right up. Now, as a human being, you wouldn't want to do that, right? Because that's disgusting. And also, I think dogs eat cat poop. They see cat poop and they eat it, type of thing, because it's they don't want the cat to mark its territory. I don't know all the reasons. But animals do some disgusting stuff just because they don't have the conscience that we have. We don't have, we have a natural thing in our mind that stops us from doing disgusting things. And you talk to a normal person that hasn't been given over to a reprobate mind, sorry if I'm talking too fast, they see a man with a man and see that as disgusting. And a woman with a woman, they see that as disgusting. But somebody who has a reprobate mind, they don't see anything wrong with that. They think that's completely normal and acceptable. So that's the punishment that God lets them go, because it says He gives them over to their own heart's desires. I think it says, But just read the chapter for yourself. See if I'm right on this. I could just be wrong. Read it for yourself. But basically, what happens is people reject God, keep pushing Him away, and I don't know where that line is at. But eventually, after they keep rejecting God, God eventually rejects them and gives them over to a reprobate mind, a rejected mind without a conscience. And it says in the Bible that they're full of all unrighteousness. And I made another video about how the alphabet people, the ABC people, will never be satisfied. Watch that video. It explains that they're implacable. They can't ever be satisfied. That's what it says in Romans 1. But basically, that's how the reprobate doctrine works. But getting to the first story, I grew up with this kid. We were never really friends. I'm just going to go ahead and say his name. His name was Nathan Pence. I think, we went to Huntington Middle together. So from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade, we were never really friends. And we just we kind of knew each other because I hung out with the geeks and nerds type of thing, and a little bit of the weirdo group. That's the kind of person that I am. I hung out with him, and he also hung out with another group that seemed kind of geeky a little bit, and stuff. But we never really talked to each other because it just didn't happen. But around 10th grade, whenever I first got saved, I think, right before 10th grade, I started posting a bunch of stuff about the Bible and stuff on Facebook, back when I had social media, talking about how, I was explaining the reprobate doctrine, actually, in one of my posts and stuff, and I was talking about the Bible, and he DM'd me saying that the Bible's full of lies, been proven wrong, blah, 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 it's all stupid, I'm not going to listen to a book full of lies. I don't know the exact thing that he said, because this happened 5-6 years ago, 5-6-7 years, around 5-6 years ago. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, I'm not going to listen to a book full of lies. It's been proven wrong, it's old, it's archaic, it's not real, it's all fake, it's all made up type of thing. That's the stuff he was saying. And a few years later, I think about maybe 2-3 years later, maybe this happened before I saw it, but I was on Facebook scrolling, and I don't know how exactly. Maybe he popped up in my recommended. I don't know exactly how this happened, but I came across this page, and his name went from Nathan Pence to Jody Pence. I think it was Jodie. And this dude's got a beard. He looks really masculine, but he's got lipstick on and dressed up in drag and stuff. And it's wow, that's a clear example of how you keep pushing away God and reject God, push Him away. And I believe that's why he turned into a homosexual. So that was a person I grew up with and I knew for about 6 years. 6th grade to 12th grade. And then he just came out of the closet out of nowhere. I think why is because of the reprobate doctrine. And also another guy. This was around 10th grade again. And whenever I very first got saved, I was really zealous. I was reading the Bible a lot and stuff. And this was in an engineering class. And usually in that class, I'm not going to lie, we didn't really do anything. We just sat and played on our phones. And we ate food. And because, the way that the lunch system was set up. But we'd just be chilling, hanging out, talking. Every once in a while, a supervisor would come by and we have to do some type of work. But getting back to the point, because we're just sitting there talking all the time, eventually, some religious topic or political topic may come up just because eventually you're going to run out of things to talk about when it comes to small talk. And I don't know how it happened. I don't remember all the details, but I know that the Bible ended up coming up and religion ended up coming up. And I explained, I don't believe in evolution and stuff. I don't know who started it, but we ended up getting into a big argument, and we argued for half of that period, half of that class period, and then the teacher, he kept telling us, you guys need to stop arguing, stop arguing. He's a little bit calm at first, and then he just raised up the intensity a little bit. Hey, I told you guys stop arguing. We just kept arguing, and honestly, I shouldn't have kept arguing, because arguing doesn't really get anywhere. I probably should just stop talking to him, stop hanging out with him, because the things that he was saying, eventually we kept arguing like a fool. I should have just stopped arguing, but we kept arguing. The teacher yelled at us, "Hey, you gotta stop," like really loud, and the whole class looked at us and everything, because the teacher just yelled at us, telling us to stop. And then we stopped, and then, I walked over. I remember I walked over to the other side of the classroom by myself, and I just sat down and started reading the Bible. And then, from day to day, it's kind of it's really made me angry, the things that he's saying. He's saying that, like, the Bible, I remember he specifically said, the Bible is a book full of lies. It's a book of lies, been proven wrong by science, and also a way to kind of put down Jesus. The technical definition of the word zombie is somebody who was dead and came back to life. And he called Jesus Christ a zombie as a way to kind of, like, I guess you could say, slander his name, or just put his name down, just a way to kind of make fun of him. And then he pointed out, the technical definition of the word zombie is somebody who comes back from the dead, who is dead and came back to life. So I'm going to call Jesus Christ a zombie type of thing. I should have stopped talking to him. I should have stopped hanging out with him. But, I didn't really have too many friends in that class. And so we kept talking and hanging out and stuff for the rest of the year. A little bit, not hanging out after school or anything, but in class we just kept hanging out and stuff. We kind of just, like, put that aside, even though in the back of my head it's like, I know I shouldn't be talking to this dude, things that he said about the Bible. But anyways, a few years later, my sister has known him for twice the amount of time that I've known him, because he used to go to my sister's school. I think his name is Raphael. It's this black dude, a little bit darker than my skin tone. But eventually later on, she told me that he's gay now, that he just came out the closet and he's gay. It's like, oh wow, I was thinking, again, another example of somebody who kept pushing away God, trashing God, ignoring the Bible, all this stuff, and having bitterness and anger. I might not be the most socially intelligent person. I can't really pick up on a lot of vibes and energy or whatever. I don't have very high emotional intelligence or whatever it is. But just the way that he was saying things about the Bible, he had some type of malice and, like, hatred in his voice, the things that he was saying. And I think he genuinely hated God, the God of the Bible, the only God. And I think that's the reason why he was given over to a reprobate mind, and that's why he's gay now. I believe that's how people turn gay. They were not born that way, but they do burn that way whenever they die. But basically, that's the two stories, and thank you for watching. God bless.